I'm back to nerd out on more C# 14 goodness. And the feature I want to highlight in this video has to do with the null conditional assignment functionality. So this may seem again like another one of those small features that doesn't deserve a lot of attention. But if you're somebody who writes C# a lot, there's chances that you've probably written code or statements that look like this a few dozen times. And after about the dozenth time of writing it, you're usually wondering, man, wouldn't it be nice if I could get rid of some of this verboseness and also simplify this type of member access on a potentially null object? And now you can. So this feature is very similar to how you can conditionally access the value of a property, whether or not that property exists on an instance of an object that is null, right? So you can conditionally read or get some member from a potentially null object, but now you can also assign to it as they're showing here in this demo. So let me just walk through a quick little demo. This video will be very short, but I just want to take the time to highlight these things as somebody who wants to make C# more popular and demonstrate how great of a language it is. I think it's important that we take time as a community to highlight these things that the team over there on the C# team are bringing to us. So here's the old scenario. So this is what it was like before C# 14 was released. In this particular case, I've got this person object that can or can not be null based on what's returned from this static from method, just depending on whether or not the value you pass in for the name is an empty string or not, or a null string or not. And so in this case, when I go to actually set the value of that person's name again and change it, let's change it from, say, Albert to Einstein in this case, you can see I'm getting a warning here from the compiler letting me know, hey, you're potentially accessing a null object here. And so when you run this code, there's the potential that you could throw a null reference exception. And C# has this really great feature of nullability where the compiler can tell us, hey, there's the potential for a null value here, and you're not checking if it's null or not. So in the old world, in version 13, we'd have to actually say if person is not null, like this, and then we'd have to put all this member access code in here, right? Particularly the piece of code that's actually setting a property value. We could, down here in console.writeLine, of course, use the optional operator to access the name, but when we're setting it, there's really no way to deal with that other than doing this explicit check up above. Now, the nice thing here is that in C# 14 now we can get rid of this if statement, just like their documentation showed. So if we actually try to run this, you'll see everyone's happy now. We don't get that warning from the compiler, and we print the name, so it got properly set. But now if we go ahead and switch our lang version to 14, well, before we do that, let's actually show what we'd like to do, right? So ideal world, we'd be able to remove this, and we'd be able to set this as just an optional access. Just like we do down here, right, where we optionally get .name to read it, we could optionally get name to set it. Now, again, this is going to tell us, hey, this feature isn't available to you in C# 13, but great news, if you change to C# 14, you can actually do this. So let's go ahead and change our language version to 14, and we'll now go ahead and run our code, and we can say .NET index.cs, and you can see everything's going to be happy. We're going to compile and we're going to run without an issue, and we get rid of that warning now in the actual IDE that was telling us, hey, you're doing something wrong here. But in this new world, we're not doing anything wrong. So again, this is going back to these features that individually on their face, they seem not super impactful, but if you're writing a lot of C# and you're writing a lot of code that's requiring you to call other people's code and things that that other code returns could or could not be null, you know that after your umpteenth time of writing a null check, you are kind of frustrated by the level of indentation that it could add and maybe the impact on readability it could have on your code. where you'd much rather say, hey, if the customer, in this case, the customer's null, just don't run all that code after the question mark. If the customer isn't null, then go ahead and do what I've said here, but I don't need to actually express that with an if when I can use just the null conditional assignment operator. So hopefully you found this helpful. Hopefully you're excited about this feature in C#, just like I am. Again, I know it's kind of a nerdy, small little feature to highlight, but again, it's just I want to show the appreciation I have for the team that's working on C# and continuing to iterate on it and add to it and improve just the general DX and the quality of life that we as developers and programmers get from working with the language, and hopefully maybe convince some of you who aren't currently C# users to come over to the dark side, so to speak, and give it a try. So if you found this helpful, please obviously leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments of the video. And if you'd want to share kind of what you're excited about in C# 14 or .NET 10, I'd love to hear about it as well. And with that, I'll leave you guys to it. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.